We stand for God. He stands for us. The topic that we're going to be talking about today is premarital sex. Should we be having sex before we get married, or should we wait till after we get married to have sex? Guys, what do you guys think about this?
Many people right away, Mikey, would argue that you probably should be having sex before marriage. You're talking about test driving. You're talking about wanting to know if you're compatible with the person that you're with. So, I mean, you do it in all other aspects of your life anyways, whether it's like work or even test driving a car. Yeah. Hey, I want to know if this girl that I'm with is going to cut it, so why not test drive it?
Huh, well, that's a hey, that could be a valid point right there.
Of course.
The analogy of a car is a pretty powerful one. A few years ago, I was actually interested in purchasing a car, and I had a certain budget I could afford to go at the low end or the top end. Okay. So I decided to start to test drive a few vehicles. I actually started at the very low end, tested over a bunch of cars, and then went up a little bit and tested over another bunch of cars, and then mid-class, and eventually worked my way up to a luxury car. And by the time I got up to that luxury car, I had test driven so many cars, I couldn't appreciate the value of the luxury car I had at the end. The analogy I use is to say that essentially you can test drive your way through so many experiences sexually in your life that by the time you get to that one person that you're committed to and is committed to you, the person you really want to marry and you're going to marry, you've given away so much of yourself that you can't appreciate the value of that relationship. So I see the value of the analogy of using the test driving as if you were test driving a car. Right. I think the rebuttal there would be that perhaps you lose so much of the value in the test driving process that the luxury car you get at the end isn't much of a luxury anymore.
Point taken, but what if I'm already in a relationship with the person? I've been dating them for like 4 years, and, we've decided that we're going to get married, so why not? You know what I mean?
Well, I suppose my next question would be, what if you don't like the result of that test?
Yikes.
I agree with Juanito. Then what do? You go find another man who could come up to your standards and have sex with him too?
Yes, you get a Japanese vehicle at that point in time.
No, but in reality, honestly speaking, right? Like, reality is around us. Sex is everywhere. Like, you're preaching it in movies. They're preaching it in everything, So, at some point, you're gonna get that itch as a young person growing up, based on whether it's your environment at home or whatever you're seeing and stuff like that. And if you and the person that you are with at that time is both in agreement, then again, why not? Why not? You sit down and you talk about it. I mean, obviously the person that you're with is somebody who is probably you're on the same emotional level, and you do sit down and talk about things. So if you both sit down and you talk about it and you say, hey, listen, what are you doing concerning your marriage? Is this okay? Like, how do we feel? And go from there. Why not?
Well, the problem I see with that is if it doesn't work out, there's so much emotional baggage that comes with it, the pain and the hurt, that you thought this one person was going to be the one for you, and now they've gone and found the next girl. And now you got to go find a new relationship. How are you going to build something that's pure and true if you're just hurt from the relationship before, simply because of sex?
But if you're in a relationship and you've been with that person for 4 years, sex shouldn't be like the end all and the be all. So say we do have sex and it does suck, we should be at that point already, because we're already getting married, to talk about it and how we can make ways to, spice it up. How do you know that it's going to end just because we have sex and it doesn't work?
So I guess her point is that if you're already in a committed relationship, there is no one else, you're months, maybe weeks, maybe even days away from wedding vows.
Right.
What's the difference between today or 2-3 weeks from now? Yeah. One of the things I think about when I ask that question to myself is the issue of self-control. How many of people here value self-control in a relationship? If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you'd like to know that they have self-control, right? So if
how about being in control?
I figure if you're in a relationship, though, right, and you're with someone that you care for and you love very much, and you've explored almost every other aspect of your relationship, emotionally, you know them well, spiritually, you're well connected, great conversation, you know their family, they know yours. Sex is really the final frontier. It is the last test of their self-control. And really what it tells me is that if I'm with someone who's not able to restrain themselves in this one last area, it makes me concerned that when I'm away from them, once we're married, and I'm
Yes.
spending 2 or 3 weeks away or a month away.
It's so true.
Before we were married, you didn't have self-control to hold yourself, and now I'm away and I'm supposed to trust that you will.
Yes.
That's a big area of concern for me. So I see the test of sex as being a true test of self-control and discipline. And it says, if you can be faithful in these small things, then when I give you my entire life through marriage, then I can also trust you. But if I can't trust you when we're not married, I don't know why I would be able to trust you when we are.
Would that work if the person is still on like the same page? If both of them are still on the same page, versus like one who's, I want us to wait, and another person's like, well,
Let me even muddy the waters just a little bit. I mean, there's also an argument out there that says that, a lot of women really appreciate or want to have a more experienced man within the relationship. So, I mean, if you throw that in there, what do you say concerning that,
Well, I have to be honest. I mean, that's a tough one because every man who comes into a relationship wants to feel as though he can satisfy his woman from a man's perspective. And so I can understand that if you're entering into a relationship and your woman to be or spouse to be expects you to be experienced, you may feel the need to test the waters elsewhere so that you can come to that relationship being prepared. Right. I'd like to consider the flip side, though, which is that all of that experience really sets in your mind emotional baggage, as you said, but it also sets a false expectation of what a relationship ought to be.
Yeah, that's true.
What I mean by that is sometimes as you go through these various sexual encounters, you scar the other person and you yourself come out scarred. So that when you go into the next relationship, you come with a scarred mentality and a scarred behavior. Yeah. And you put all of that burden now onto this partner who sometimes truly is not equipped to deal with it. So I think part of the experience that people say they're seeking for is really scars from previous relationship. And those scars end up being transferred to that current relationship. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but I think there is much more to be said about the purity of innocence, two people coming in together and kind of figuring things out and falling and getting back up again, back and forth, rather than having someone who's so experienced but really so scarred, having to pass on to you the life lesson that you wish you hadn't had to experience. I don't know.
Let's set up the scenario now. Okay, so you're in a relationship, whether you're just starting out dating or you're just about to get engaged, and what if your partner comes up to you and says, we've been together for a while now, so let's take our relationship to the next level. How do you handle that?
That's a good
Let's hear from everybody in the panel, right? So somebody's coming up to your wife, not even your wife, your girlfriend or fiance, right?
Let's play
or somebody, yeah.
We've been together for a while now.
Yeah.
I'm digging you, you're digging me.
Oh dear.
I want to dig you, you want to dig me.
Woo!
We're done now.
So let's do it.
So are you more experienced than I am?
No. This is just
Okay,
I think
let's
it makes
try.
it
No. Let's
so
try
it makes
this.
a difference.
Let's try this. Baby, it's been a long while, and I think I'm just ready to have this next level with you.
Yeah, that's pretty tough on me coming from a guy because I want to fail.
You go with me.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Baby, I know we've been together for some time
Don't call
now.
me baby, please.
Sweethearts. We've been together for some time now.
Long time.
And you've met my parents, and we go to McDonald's together.
Even that crazy uncle.
We always, we take long walks in the park and all this stuff. Everything's just clicking, and I just think we should just wing it. We should just go. We should just take it to the next level.
Baby, I just want you to know that I understand how you feel, and I feel the same way.
Do you understand, really?
I really do.
Okay.
But I also want you to know that I love you enough and respect you enough to want to wait until I can proclaim to the entire world my love and my commitment to you via the holy vow of marriage.
Marry him, girl.
Once we've done that, I will feel I will be a better man for you because I will not only have made my commitment clear to you, I will have publicly made it clear to every single other woman who's dying to sleep with me.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yo, that's
Okay, I'll wait.
That is it. That is it.
I would actually say that last part wouldn't be in there. that last part, no, I wouldn't say that last part, but the first part would for sure would be.
Okay.
Okay, so all right. Well, guys,
So how do we conclude this now? Because I mean, people like myself and other people out there just want to know. So like, what's the definitive answer? What's our position on this? Which way are we looking at it? Are we saying that we're going his way, and is it going to be like, you know?
well, in our society, right, sex is viewed as a normal thing outside of marriage. It's basically, we see it in everything. Premarital sex is in TV. It's in movies. It's in the music that we hear.
Sure.
It's in the music videos that we see, right? Premarital sex is being put as the forefront, or one of the most important things in a relationship. But really, it should be something that we look towards the end of the relationship. After we got to know the person for a while, especially in marriage. and I can't really stress this enough. It has to, this is something in marriage, and this is what God has blessed, and it's a holy thing altogether. Now, God gives sex as a gift. It's a gift to married people, right? It's something for you to enjoy in the confines of your marriage. Now, also the Bible talks about how sexual immorality can be destructive, even though you may not be a parent at this point in time. Where in 1 Corinthians 6:18 it says, "Flee from sexual immorality. All of the sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body." And finally, in Hebrews 13:4, we read that marriage should be honored by all and kept in the bed pure. For God will judge adulterers and fornicators of all sexual immorality. Now, the question is now, where do you stand? So I want to thank you for watching our show. I want to thank the panel for participating.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you next time, and God bless.